But two, making sure that your nutrition is right and you're regulating blood sugar without utilizing hormones to do so. That's one big piece. But with kids, you mentioned it's not so much a thing for kids, but I think within the context of back to school, it is important to think about, kids are used to, they're really good with routines. They do awesome with finding a good routine and having a day-to-day schedule. And we've got that on the list for later on. The last thing that we put on here is sleep for kids, and finding a good routine. And if you are not in a good routine, um, kids can get thrown off quite a bit. And so the adjustment of going back to school, although it's not stress like we normally think of stress, I mean, stress is all relative. Although we know that if we were sitting in a classroom and didn't really have to think about being responsible for anything, and somebody was going to pick us up and make our lunch and do all those things, we would be very, very, very stress free. It would be absolute bliss, I'm sure, to let our brains relax and do that for a while. But at the same time, for kids, I mean, they're going from being at home, playing all the time, things like that, to all of a sudden being back in the classroom and being on a different sleep schedule and, getting adjusted to making new friends, things like that. And it can be stressful for them. So I do think that does play a bit into it. Um, but all the other things, food sensitivities, high on the list, gut issues, high on the list, poor nutrition, in more ways than one, more than just blood sugar issues, but getting into the, maybe there's too many processed things. Maybe there, like you said, too much sugar, all that stuff where even with eating processed foods and maybe a little bit of sugar here or there, you can still, especially with kids, get away with having pretty regular blood sugar. Some people are just more tolerant